But overlooking these masterpieces of crystal is a very different work of art.
This artifact was painted over 150 years ago. Each side is 1.5 feet in length. It's made of oil on canvas. It has an incredibly ornate frame. And the colors involved in this image are very earthy in tones.
This scene recalls an unlikely hero who cooked up a cunning plan to save her kingdom.
This is a story about mead, meals, and murder.
It's the 7th century, and Scandinavia is embroiled in bitter conflict. The countless Nordic tribes that inhabit the region, many of which will later become known as Vikings, are locked in a ruthless battle for supremacy. One such tribe is called the Geats.
When you think of Norsemen of history, the beards, the aggressive nature, this was very much who the Geats were. They were warriors, and they lived their lives every day on the battlefields.
Ruling over this fearsome tribe is the formidable King Aelle.
The king was strong, powerful, and ruthless, and he wanted to expand his kingdom.
One day, the monarch decides to invade lands to the west. Aelle rallies every able-bodied man to his army and prepares to lay siege to his enemy's territory. The campaign will take several months. So, to watch over the kingdom in his place, he turns to a trusted noblewoman. Her name is Blenda.
Blenda was accustomed to power. She's a woman who was fiercely intelligent, not afraid of anyone, and who would really seek to govern in a fair and efficient way in the king's absence.
For the first few months, Blenda finds that the kingdom runs smoothly under her command. That is, until a messenger arrives with dire news. He says that the rival Danes are marching to sack their lands. And with the Geat army hundreds of miles away, Blenda and her people are defenseless.
Blenda recognized that this was incredibly bad news. The Danes were brutal individuals who would not spare women and children that got in their way.
Blenda is faced with an unenviable dilemma. If she tries to flee, her people will be outflanked and slaughtered. But with few weapons and no warriors to wield them, any attempt to stand and fight seems equally doomed.
She had to come up with a cunning plan. She had to use brains rather than brawn.
To save her loyal subjects, the proud noblewoman will execute one of the most diabolical deceptions ever seen.
Blenda's plan was about to earn her a place in history.
It's the 7th century. An army of Danish warriors is marauding through modern-day Sweden, ransacking every village in their path. When they reach the province of Småland, a local noblewoman named Blenda has a nasty surprise in store. As the story goes, Blenda rallies as many women as she can. She asks them to prepare a massive banquet of roasted meat, bread, and an alcoholic drink similar to wine called mead.
The women must have been very confused. To be told to start cooking is not really what you would expect in a crisis situation.
The women obey Blenda's command. Soon, there is enough food and drink to feed an army. With the preparations set, Blenda travels to the Danish camp and begs to parley with them.
Blenda told them that she and her fellow women had heard news of their incredible military endeavors, of their strength, of their prowess on the battlefield.
And she goes further. She offers to hold a celebration in their honor. The prospect of a feast is too good for the meat-loving, mead-swilling Danes to refuse.
And they happily accept Blenda's invitation to dinner.
Blenda and her countrywomen warmly entertain the Danes and ply them with food and drink.
There was plenty to eat, plenty to drink, and before long, it had become a rowdy party.
Finally, after a long night of drinking and feasting, the Danes fall asleep. That's when Blenda springs her trap. She and the other women steal the Danes' weapons and slaughter them one by one in their sleep. By the time morning rolls around, the entire Danish army has been massacred.
These brutal Danes were told to expect the meal of a lifetime, and boy did they get it.
When King Aelle returns and learns of Blenda's bravery, he rewards her and the other women with lands and many other rights usually reserved for men. Blenda goes down in history as one of the fiercest warriors of her day and is still an important symbol for Swedish women.
This story tells us that no matter the overwhelming military odds, cool, calm, level-headedness and some quick thinking can always save the day.
Today, an oil painting depicting Blenda looking at the invading army is on display at the Småland Museum in Växjö, Sweden. It's a pointed reminder of a fearless woman who cooked up a delicious and cunning deception.